meeting to order of the Advisory Board on Outdoor Recreation, June 26, 2025. That's agenda item number one. Agenda item number two is the roll call of the Advisory Board.
Lieutenant Governor,
Here.
Amy Berry,
Here.
Mauricia Baca,
Here.
Alec Bacchus is not here. Alan Janae. Stacy M is not here. Janice Keeler for Bob Mergell.
Here.
Greg Jewell.
Here.
Raphael.
Here.
Villanueva.
Here.
Perfect.
Here.
Deborah Strickland. Here.
Good morning, board.
She is. Chad Taylor.
Here.
ABOR here. Miles Gertler. I think Miles is going to be here. He has sick baby, so he'll probably join us shortly.
So we have a quorum.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Review and approval of the minutes from the March 26, 25 meeting for possible action. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes from March 26?
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Any comments on the motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. So agenda item number 4, review and approval of the agenda. Are there any questions or comments on the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Moved.
So a second.
Second.
I guess, do we need to have a
Yeah, we'll do some.
Tim Settlemeyer moved the motion on the previous one and this one.
Thank you. And the second was from who? Okay, any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 5, public comment. This is a time for anyone who would like to make a public comment. You have 3 minutes. So is there anybody in this room that would like to make public comment this morning? All right. Is there any place else we're having this meeting?
Online.
Online? Is anybody online that has a public comment? Is that just those 2 places?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I don't hear any public comments, so we will now go to agenda item 6 of some introduction and comments from me. So I always want to thank the board for their participation in making outdoor recreation great again in the state of Nevada. So I appreciate everything you all do to make sure that we have great outdoor recreation opportunities for our residents and for our tourists, and participating in this board and everything you do. It is very much appreciated. Couple of things that I did prior of the last couple of months or so. Didn't do as much because I was stuck indoors at the legislative building, which I am very thankful it's over with, but I was able to do a couple of things. I visited the River Fork Ranch in Gardnerville, which is a how do you say that? Nature Conservatory, right? Conservancy, Nature Conservancy, absolutely beautiful place, open to the public, great place to go walking around, and there's a river there, and it's a very, very nice place. So we did a little advertisement for the River Fork Ranch. Went up to Lake Tahoe to visit the Sand Harbor State Park. It was very quiet when we were there, so we got to really kind of see what everything looked like, the visitor center, the beach. But during the summer, it can get a little bit crazy. Do you want
I
to?
drove past the line of traffic waiting to get in.
Already?
Yeah,
Okay.
pre-8 AM.
So, yeah, they had to institute some things like a reservation to get in. It's an absolutely beautiful place, but it's a tough place to manage, and they do the best they can up there, but it's a jewel, and we just want to make sure that it's kept that way. And then the big deal was the Cave Lake grand opening. As many of you know, there was a leak in the dam. They had to drain the lake in order to fix the dam. It was a pretty big project, a lot of money, $15 million, I think. I appreciate really the state of Nevada taking the time and the energy to fix that dam. I guess one option was just not fixing it and not having the Cave Lake ever come back, but that's not the stand the state took, because outdoor recreation is a big deal. And it was absolutely beautiful up there. A lot of people showed up, a lot of stakeholders. Director Settlemeyer, did you want to say anything else on that?
You know, it's a fantastic opportunity to get that back open for the public there. It's fascinating to me that 45% of the visitors traditionally in the Cave Lake area are from Clark County.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
So it's kind of become a escape for
Yeah.
people from something like, what, 120-degree weather?
It was only 111 last week. Bad.
I'm very grateful that you came down to the River Fork Ranch for the Nature Conservancy, and I think the word you're looking for, it's a preserve, they call it.
Yeah.
And so that's a good opportunity. And one of the things that I'd like to mention, sir, it's okay, maybe we could, the lake is a beautiful place, Tahoe. It's magnificent, but it can be ugly as well. In light of the 6 people, unfortunately, that perished, and then we had 8 total because of this, all 8 were not bird declared. And then also we had a sad situation up at the lake, not on Nevada side, luckily, but not that it's good. There was a pedestrian incident with a 13-year-old kid not too long ago as well. Outdoor recreation, people need to be aware. Maybe we could take a small moment of silence, sir, if that's okay.
That would be great. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, Lake Tahoe is someplace that you have to balance residents and tourists, you know. So and actually I'm a member of the National Lieutenant Governors Association, and our annual meeting this year is going to be in Lake Tahoe. So be about 15 lieutenant governors showing up, and we're going to showcase Lake Tahoe and talk about tourism and the upside of tourism and the downside of tourism. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
You know, one of the interesting things is last time I remember 8 foot waves of Tahoe, we had friends that went up there and actually they had stickers and everything, surf Tahoe.
Right.
But somebody said some of these waves actually were 17 feet during this last incident.
Yeah, I think what was so, Amy Berry for the record, I think what was so strange is we have such a traditional southerly breeze that comes that everybody on the North Shore is kind of used to this big wave. Everybody knows if there's a storm, you pull your boat, that sort of thing. But this was a series of thunderstorms that came out of the north. And so South Shore never sees waves like this because the wind starts from the South Shore and goes to the north. So I think that's what was particularly shocking about this one was we've just never seen a northerly breeze like that hit the lake.
Anybody on the board want to share any outdoor recreation adventures they had in Nevada before we move on?
And Denise Baronio, for the record, I just wanted Janice to introduce herself because she's sitting for Bob Mergell today from State Parks.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm Janice Keeler. I'm the Deputy Administrator for Nevada State Parks, and I oversee all the planning and development and the 2 grant programs we manage, Land and Water Conservation Fund and Recreational Trails Program.
Great. Thank you for being here.
And also Denise Baronio, for the record, Mauricia, if you wanted to say a few words about the Nature Conservancy that the Lieutenant Governor visited, you can expand on that so the public can know a little bit more about it, since that's your nature preserve.
Thank you so much, Denise. Yes, we're fortunate enough to be able to manage, excuse me. Of course, the mummy you brought me. Coffee and the kicks in. We're fortunate enough to manage the Nature Conserve, which is a beautiful and operational facility. We collaborate actually with the local ranchers in the valley, and we're able to manage it so that we can retain the endemic species, allow public access. We host school children who come for visits. We have volunteers who help us in caring for it. And the funding came both through the combination of public funding and private donors, including the first round of bond funding that helped certain areas such as the preserve at River Fork Ranch. So I'm so glad that you were able to take some time and to visit there. I think the River Fork Ranch brings together so many elements. It brings together Nevada's ranching history, Nevada's natural history, and of course, as well, the Walker tribe, who we have hosted at the River Fork Ranch, who've had gatherings for their elders there as well. So there's so much just in one place, and Nevada has such a deep and rich history, and I think it's so important that as a state, we're investing in our outdoors on so many levels, including outdoor recreation, because it is important, and we get a lot of visitors at the River Fork Ranch from all over the place.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, I'm going to the rodeo tonight. That's outdoor recreation, so I think there's 2 or 3 days left. So if you haven't been there, make sure you support our Reno Rodeo. All right, item number 7, division updates for discussion.
Thank you. Denise Baronio for the record. Just a reminder to everyone to state your name for the record before you speak today. I'm going to be the only person speaking on behalf of the staff just to kind of keep the meeting moving along since we have lunch and field trips and then the rodeo this afternoon. So I'm going to be speaking on behalf of the team. So 2025 was a very busy legislative year for Endor with 6 bills that will impact our division. So I'll touch on each one of those. SB 21 came directly from our division to expand the NOAA grant, the Nevada Outdoor Education and Recreation Grant. This second funding bucket that we were able to get approved was created to offer grant opportunities to the public. Previously, we just had the K through 12 bucket for recreation grants. Both grant buckets will now offer funding that can be allocated to infrastructure projects as well. So that did not exist before. So that's another addition to that grant. AB 108 appropriated $250,000 each year of the biennium for the outdoor education and recreation grant. So we were able to get that same funding again. We asked for $1 million, we got $500,000. We'll take it. We're very appreciative in this budget cycle that we were able to get some funding. This does not fund the newer grant bucket that was created in SB 21. So we're going to be searching for additional funding for that opportunity for the public bucket. AB 165 creates the Outdoor Education Council with Endor. So this is basically an extension of the advisory working group that Kendall has overseen for the last year and has done an amazing job. That was for the fiscal year 24-25, but it was the entire year of 2024 that she oversaw that. And the bill was proposed by that working group. So that came out of the working group originally that Kendall oversaw. SB 205, which creates the Transit to Trails Task Force. Endor is named a member to this task force, and it will be listed in our NRS. The task force sunsets in October 2030. It's basically trying to find more efficient ways, more funding and resources to get people from Vegas inner city areas to trailheads. So that'll be an interesting task force for us to oversee. AB 501 allows students to receive academic credit for completing certain outdoor recreation activities. So this bill was basically a diluted version of the bill originally introduced by the Lieutenant Governor, but it just left out the mandatory recess piece. So that's an exciting new opportunity to expand outdoor recreation in the K through 12 realm. SB 104 allocates $200,000 over each year of the biennium to the Department of Education for school gardens. So this is not part of the NOAA grant, although the NOAA grant does offer a school garden opportunity also. So I guess we're going to try to navigate how to redirect people to this money for green schoolyards and for gardens. And then we'll have to kind of revisit that in the next legislative cycle to see if we can maybe make that more efficient. So projects Elizabeth and I have been wrapping up have been the Nevada Outdoor Recreation Economic Impact Analysis. So Elizabeth and Janice and I have been providing feedback and suggestions to the contractor to finalize the study. Public facing document will be available in the next 30 days. So it's really exciting. We've been working on that for about 1.5 years. We hope this will provide insight and influence to future funding and infrastructure needs across the state and really help us bank on that $1.2 trillion outdoor recreation industry in the United States. The data from this project will also be utilized for the SCORP, the statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, and that is another project that ABOR is working on with state parks. So update from Yasmina, who is our GIS analyst and oversees our Nevada Trail Finder website. The GIS Analyst 2 position has been approved through legislation and will be hired as a permanent staff position by the end of 2025. Currently, Yasmina's position was funded through several different grants, so we're really excited about that. The SCORP data collection process is almost complete, and the data has been compiled into a dashboard for land managers to review and send in feedback. We would be more than happy to share this dashboard with anybody who's interested in reviewing the data. And then with the help of Stacy M. From the tribe who sits on our board, we will be collecting tribal assets to be included by the end of the year.
Denise, can I just jump in? It's just assets, outdoor recreation assets.
Yes.
So the data we're gonna start collecting through our surveys. So that's all the public input and land management.
Yes, that would be honest.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. Nevada Trail Finder trail side services are underway and should be ready to launch by the end of summer. We are still waiting for the webpage to be finalized. Those pages need to be finalized still. Kendall Scott, who is our education lead and grants analyst, oversees the NOAA grant program. Kendall is working currently on updating the grant manual, flyers, and the other NOAA materials. Applications for 2026 will open August 1st. We will need to schedule a November TAC meeting for grant presentations, so look out for those invites. I know you guys are super excited about TAC. The AB 165 Outdoor Education Council, which created the permanent council tasked with recognizing and supporting schools and educators and working to further outdoor education with the support of Endor. So she's kind of elaborating on the other pieces of AB 165. Kendall and other former advisory working group members have continued to work with our technical assistant leads at the Children and Nature Network as part of our ongoing participation in the National Nature Everywhere initiative. We were recently invited to apply for additional grant money from the Children and Nature Network to support the new Outdoor Education Council and their work. So that's really exciting. Kendall's been working hard to make sure that we have funding, additional support for that program. Chelsea Kinchelo, who's our program officer, oversees our comms and our dark skies program. Kind of jack of all trades of a lot of other things. So Chelsea is working with the Nevada State Parks, Carson City Parks, Recreation and Open Space, and the community of Gerlach, Nevada on submitting applications for the Nevada Starry Sky Certification Program, which is underway. Chelsea completed the Nevada's first dark sky toolkit in collaboration with Travel Nevada, which can now be found on our website. It's really pretty. We really appreciate Travel Nevada's input and great marketing. It's a really, really pretty toolkit. So I encourage everybody to go online and check that out. Chelsea continues to work with Truckee Meadows Community College on the trail certification program. And we rescheduled the Cosmos in the Desert at Lahontan due to inclement weather in April. The new date is August 16th, 2025. And that is going to be in Perseids. Did I say that right?
You did, yeah.
Meteor shower. That'll be at the same time during that meteor shower. So it'll be extra special and we'll have warm weather, which we did not have previously. The weather was snowy and cold. So everything happens for a reason. Caden Barmore, who is our program manager for the Nevada OHV program, his update is that they have awarded $650,275.19 in OHV grants in May. Super exciting. We are currently collaborating with DMV for a marketing campaign highlighting the differences between the DMV OHV registration unit and the OHV program to acquiesce specifics on registration and titling. The website redesign is underway. We are working with the DMV to make sure our registration messaging is correct and ensure the public knows that DMV oversees the registration. I think between Caden and I, we get about 5 to 7 calls a week for people who want to register their OHV to our office, and that's DMV that does the registration and titling. So we redirect everybody. We are working with out-of-state partners to see how their OHV programs operate. So Caden will be attending California's OHV Safety Summit as well as the Western OHV Tactics and Training Coalition to further his working knowledge of the program. And finally, interviews have been conducted to fill the management analyst one position. So hopefully we will have that position, at least an offer out next week for that, hopefully. I think that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. A couple of things to piggyback on. The bill that was passed to allow for outdoor recreation curriculum in our schools. So that's up to the school districts to set up that curriculum. So, the school districts are run by the county. So if you know any people on our school districts, please lobby them to start putting together curriculum in their particular district to allow our kids to get outdoor recreation credit. So that's, I think that's important for us to start working on. So I know some folks in Clark County that I'm going to talk to, but wherever counties that you're from, please start doing that. Agriculture tourism, I had another bill to promote agriculture tourism in the state. Traveling all over Nevada, ranchers and farmers wanted to try to supplement their income with agriculture tourism, whatever their idea was. But there's some kind of roadblocks to that. The bill didn't pass like 500 other bills that didn't make it through, but we just had our I'm the chair of the Nevada Tourism Commission, so we just had our recent meeting, and the commission directed Raphael and Travel Nevada to put together an official tourism commission policy on how we can help ranchers and farmers in the agriculture tourism area, primarily helping them market whatever they want to do. Maybe we can find some grant money to help them get started. So that's a push that we're going to do on the tourism side when it comes to agriculture tourism. Is there anything that this board can do, because it is kind of an outdoor, because we want tourists to go to some ranch and, ride horses, and we're gonna talk about that later on, or, I don't think you can ride cows, but maybe somebody sets that up where you can ride a cow, I don't know. So thinking outside the box, but if there's any way this commission can support our ranchers and farmers when it comes to tourism, is not only great for outdoor recreation, but it's good for our economy too. The venture centers through the Tourism Commission is moving along. There's still some issues with land use and the money's coming in, but we're still moving forward with an adventure center in Boulder City and Carson City, which is going to be a kind of a kickoff point or starting point for getting outdoor recreation for our residents and tourists. And then I had a lady come up to me a couple days ago and said she was in one of our state parks, and she said the bathrooms were the best bathrooms she's ever visited in a state park. And I can't remember which state park it was, so I want the record to reflect that the state of Nevada has the best bathroom in our state parks. So good job on that. So any other questions or comments on Denise's report? All right, we will go to agenda item 6, which is a presentation from the U.S.
8.
I'm sorry, 8. Presentation from the U.S. Forest Service. So, okay.
And I think I'm gonna tag team with Denise. so-
Sure.
And I'm
Okay.
gonna stand up.
Great.
Shevna Gabor, U.S. Forest Service Nevada Liaison. I think that we shared a little bit with you, maybe a meeting or so ago, about the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree. This is the first time ever that the Humboldt-Toyabe National Forest and the state of Nevada have been able to provide the tree in the 55-year tradition of National Forest providing a tree for the west lawn of the U.S. Capitol. So we're really excited, but it's a very big job. I'll tell you a little bit about what the job entails. Right now, we are in the ornament making phase and the tree skirt making phase. There is the main tree. There are a couple of other large trees, and then there are companion trees that go to the offices of the legislators in Washington, D.C. And all of those need tree skirts, all of those need ornaments. Once again, Nevada has stepped up in a way that I think has impressed the national coordinators. All of our tree skirts, which is like 55, were spoken for back in the spring really quickly. So we have quilting groups making them. We have Nevada Association of Counties making a skirt that represents all the Nevada counties, a panel for each county. We have tribes making skirts. So that's well underway. The other major part for everyone to get involved in is ornament making. So you all have a flyer explaining the ornament needs. And the only thing I regret that I noticed yesterday is it doesn't have our amazing logo on it. So I think we're going to rework it to have our logo, which was done by Stan Ken Designs out of Reno and is really, really a great logo. 10,000 ornaments by September 15th. About 3,000 of those, if memory is serving, are the large ones that go on the main tree. They've got to be waterproof, weatherproof. They've got to be very visible. So that's the biggest need right now. Oh, they type the logo.
It's so cute.
Oh,
With our theme, Starry Skies to Neon Light, Spirit of the Silver State. So really trying to showcase the urban and the rural, the things that make Nevada special, dark skies. And then, of course, our cities that attract tourists as well. The remaining ornaments are smaller, so we got a big job. We're more than 2,000 into it. And we want to show you a video about one of those ornaments, but that was made by someone special right here in this room with the governor. And that's just the first phase of his involvement in the project, which I'll mention a little bit more about in a minute. We'll see the video cooperates. Chelsea's better.
This is kindergarten, so it's a lot of fun. There's my work. This will be on the tree, Capitol. I'm looking forward to doing whatever I can to help the Forest Service make this a great opportunity to showcase Nevada. We're not just desert in Nevada. We have some beautiful places, some beautiful trees, and we want to showcase Nevada. That's what Travel Nevada is all about. Is not only represent Nevada, but we want the country to come out and travel Nevada and enjoy our. We need your help. 10,000 ornaments need to be made for this tree. The tree is absolutely huge. So do your part and make sure Nevada is represented very well.
So there's your message. That's a good time. What's today? Yeah.
James Settlemeyer for the record, where can someone find said video in order to help?
So that's a great question, James. There's a couple of websites, but the main one I'm going to refer you to is the US Capitol Christmas Tree website. If you enter that into search, it'll come right up. So 2025 US Capitol Christmas Tree. That is administered by our primary partner, Society of American Foresters. This is a huge lift. There's elements of it that the Forest Service can't do, like solicit sponsors to defray the project costs, a costly undertaking, and they get corporate sponsors to help of all sizes. So that website is the main host website. The Humboldt-Toyabe National Forest also has a Capitol Christmas Tree page now, and the videos are on there as well. So either of those two should take you back and forth. The ornament flyer is on the US Capitol Christmas Tree page, and examples of ornaments that you can make. We have kits. Denise and Kendall have been doing an amazing job with schools and getting donations of supplies for ornaments. Nevada Division of Forestry has also cut, I don't even remember, I lost track. It's at least 500 cookies, little cuts of the tree to use as ornaments. So, and they are also working with us to get the tree in the Nevada Day parades. It's another thing I want to highlight that's going to be huge. So DCNR, I have to commend you as always for stepping up to support the Forest Service in our projects. We really appreciate it. It's a lot of legwork. Our staff are also hosting a lot of ornament making events or working with teachers to do it. We are actually at the Reno Rodeo through the end of the rodeo with an ornament making booth. So if you are going, look for the Forest Service booth and you can make an ornament there. Some other highlights. I think if I can share that we are talking with the Lieutenant Governor about hosting the youth tree lighting contest. And that's another way that Nevada Division of Outdoor Recreation is going to step up and support us. So what happens with that is fourth grade students all over the state of Nevada will have the chance to write an essay focusing on the theme and focusing on what public lands and outdoor recreation mean to them. And then, I don't know if Denise's staff know this yet. Okay, good.
They were volunteers.
They were voluntold. We need to narrow these down. We're expecting quite a few. And then the lieutenant governor is gonna help us select the finalists and announce that. That youth tree lighter gets a paid trip to Washington DC, and they're actually the ones who throw the switch on the Christmas tree. They read their essay. Yes, sir.
James Stormer again, just curiosity, do we know the date yet? When it will be lit? And then also second, do you know where it's coming from?
Me all the tough questions. Question one is fairly easy. It's not 100% confirmed. And the reason why is that the tree lighting ceremony is actually hosted by the Speaker of the House. So the Speaker of the House will finalize all those plans. At that point, the Forest Service has turned over the tree to the architect of the Capitol, and the Speaker is hosting the celebration. December 2nd is the tentative date for the tree lighting. I feel pretty good that that's gonna stick. As far as where the tree.
December 2nd.
Second, you got it, yep. And there's a lot of other receptions and ceremonies around that, including a smaller event at the Whitney patio, usually at USDA, which we're waiting confirmation on. As far as where the tree is coming from, James. So, the selection's made by the architect of the Capitol, and to be precise, I'm gonna say it's the executive director of the Capitol grounds. He's coming very shortly, and he's going to be looking at candidate trees. Because of the criteria, there's really only two places on the forest that have the right types of trees. One is Carson Ranger District, which we're sitting in right now. The other is Spring Mountains National Recreation Area outside of Las Vegas. So I think we have in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 candidate trees fairly equally split. Some unique things about that are we have to have a backup in case fire or something else takes the primary tree. So he'll identify a primary tree and a backup. Probably by early August, you'll hear the final answer on where that tree is coming from. And that drives some of the logistics, but from there, we'll harvest it in late October. It will be in the Nevada Day Parade. Under a shared stewardship thing, we have two shared stewardship agreements, one for wildfire, one for recreation. So we're gonna work with partners to make the Nevada Day Parade focused on our partnerships in Nevada. After that, it goes on a whistle stop tour. Those stops are fairly set. The direction will just vary based on where the tree is coming from. So be in Carson. We will go to, maybe go to Winnemucca. There may be a stop in Lovelock, which I'll explain in a minute. It'll go to Elko, Ely, Las Vegas, a couple of rest days, and then it starts its journey across the country. And there's a number of stops across the country. Some of those are at places where major sponsors have corporate headquarters and that type of thing. It goes to Washington, DC. We hand it off. It gets prepared, all the decorations put on it, and then it's displayed after it's lit through the month of December. Lots of opportunities to talk about Nevada. There are wayside exhibits that go with the road trip, the whistle stop tour. There's also an exhibit that stays with the tree in DC. So we're looking to highlight Nevada, what's special about Nevada, including outdoor recreation the whole way through. One other event I'll mention, and this ties into the Lovelock tour, we're striking a medallion, a silver medallion with the Nevada State Museum. So again, have to commend the partnerships. They really are amazing. So the first strike event we're slated for September 19th. It'll have the logo on one side, coin press number 1 on the other side. It's gonna be really cool. So we'll make sure to share those details with you when we have more information on that event. Denise, what am I leaving out?
Denise Baronia for the record. Oh, go ahead.
What's that question?
I was saying, I think it's very interesting, James Edelmar, that you have to stand the tree up on the way to Washington DC, correct? And let it drink? That's what I was told.
Good question. So when I say it's a big undertaking, the education outreach and the ornaments are one part, but there's a whole logistical part. There's a very large trailer that has a specially built cradle that holds the tree on the journey across. For Alaska, they set up a bladder system for their tree because it was coming from a much longer distance and it was taking more time. There may be some different details about how we keep it alive, but it's got to be wrapped very carefully. The branches are ratcheted in a certain way. And then it's in its cradle. The cradle has viewing windows, so the trailer has viewing windows. It's got lights wrapped around it and it goes to each whistle stop tour. Because of the length of the rig that we're using, that also limits where we can go. So like, for instance, Austin wasn't an issue because of certain things about the road, too many curves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
turns on that.
Too many tight turns.
Yes, go ahead.
Mauricia Baca for the record. I was just curious about the essay contest because I feel like that's the stories that these kids are gonna submit are kind of like gold, or are we able to then have authorization to, yes, continue to republish and use them and share them on the website and things like that, even though not all of them can win, but I'm sure many of them are gonna be really compelling. And
That's a
fun.
great question. I just spoke with SAF, Society of American Foresters, yesterday and suggested that that would be a good web feature. However, we decided to do it is to pull other essays that were exemplary and use them, not just the winner. Yep.
A follow-up, if there's a really large number of these and that's really overwhelming for staff, I don't know if other advisory board members would like this as an offer, but could you have assistance from advisory board members in reviewing?
That was an initial discussion, to be honest, and then because of the grant review, we were concerned about overloading you all, but I would say if there's interest.
Absolutely.
Denise Baronio for the record. I think that anybody that's on the advisory board that would like to participate in reviewing the essays, we are more than happy to share with you guys to get feedback, and the team will narrow it down, I think, to like the top 20 and ish, somewhere in that range. And then the Lieutenant Governor's office will have the final
Narrow it down.
Yeah.
To the winner.
Mhm.
We'll talk with you about what you think, shut with the board for the record, what a good number would be to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other thing is, the ornaments. I mean, we're at 2,000.
We're over
And
2,000.
We gotta get to 10,000, so everybody in here belongs or knows an organization with a bunch of folks, so if I have an organization that wants to make ornaments, so what do I do?
So Courtney Gillieri, and I apologize, I always mangle Courtney's last name. She's our main contact for ornaments. So if you're looking to set up an event and you want support, it's best to reach out to her. She's very on the ball, but like all of us, she's our range on. So she has another job. So if she takes a few minutes to get back to you, don't fear. She will do it and she will let you know how to host an event. We do have a hashtag that we're using, so she'll give you information on that. If you want to take pictures of yourself and the ornament and tag us on social media. Yeah, and you can actually, so you can also make your own or make them with your family or however you'd like to do it. I have plans in July. We're trying to focus on Christmas in July. My friends are gonna make ornaments and I'm gonna make my family sit down and make ornaments. So that any quantity is great. They go to any Forest Service office around here, Carson Ranger District's the one where they can get dropped off. We have some really cool ones already. We've been highlighting some of those on social media. So yeah, even a couple to be part of the tree. Denise, I happen to know, is hanging on to an ornament to the last minute that she's made. That's lovely. Travel Nevada worked with us at Rural Roundup to have an ornament making event. So want to recognize their partnership too. And we're talking more with them this afternoon about sponsorship. But yeah, any kind of quantity, the deadline is September 15th. That's because that's how long it's going to take ahead of the tree going to DC to box everything up, sort through it, box it up, get it to DC.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
just remember, this is the first time Nevada is being represented, so this is a big deal for Nevada, and I appreciate what you're doing. You guys are making this a big deal, so thank you for everything you're doing. And the other part is the tour that it goes through Nevada and then across the country. We're gonna try to get a Travel Nevada, because you have sponsorships.
Yeah.
So one of them is gonna be the Travel Nevada banner. We're gonna try to get that on the truck, so as it travels around the state and to Washington DC, people will know this is a Nevada flag, and come out and, not only see the desert and the casinos and all the other stuff, but we got some great trees you can go visit. Outdoor recreation, pursuing outdoor recreation. So that's gonna be, do you know who the other sponsors on the tree are gonna be yet, or?
it is a changing list every day, but I will say 84 Lumber is a presenting sponsor,
Okay.
so the highest level, and their support is essential to getting us across the country. They're gonna be doing a little announcement soon. We have even some smaller ones like Stan Ken Designs. They did the logo pro bono, and they're doing some other products, so they get to a sponsorship level. There is actually a sponsor prospectus that Society of American Foresters put together, so if anyone's interested, look at what the different levels are and what the benefits are. Great Basin Brewery, we're talking with them about making at least one Capital Christmas tree oriented beer.
Great. Love that.
So Frey Distillery, we're in conversations with them, so lots of different ones. But 84 is one of the biggest right now that's locked in, is coming back as the presenting sponsor.
All right, is that a national?
Yeah.
It is?
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll get ahold of them personally and just thank them for doing that.
Oh, I appreciate that. Let me know
Yeah.
if you need any help connecting. Okay, great.
Great.
So it won't belabor you, but it's really exciting, and
Yeah.
you can be a part even just by making one ornament. So
Denise Baronio for the record. So living in Douglas County as a resident here, I immediately jumped on the opportunity to get the schools involved. Actually, Brooke, who's one of our speakers today with the community center and with Douglas County Parks and Rec, the senior center here, did how many ornaments?
So,
Like 200 ornaments.
and we have several events scheduled. It's called programs.
That's awesome. So Division of Outdoor Recreation's donated about 1,000 ornaments, like materials for 1,000 ornaments. And Kendall's been reaching out to Great Basin Outdoor School. State your name for the record.
No, Nevada Outdoor School is doing some ornaments for us. Oh, Kendall Scott for the record. And Walker Basin Conservancy, Urban Roots in Reno, River Wranglers. And then I'm also taking some to Las Vegas for a back to school event with the Nevada Office of Minority Health and Equity.
Great. Thank you.
Amy Berry for the record. What about Boys and Girls Clubs?
So some of those partners are working with Boys and Girls Clubs. So Walker Basin Conservancy, for example, is working with Boys and Girls Club of Mason Valley. They're just the ones working like really directly with students, so we're doing it through them.
And just one more thought, has anyone talked to the sawmill here to see if they could cut ornaments?
We have some from Nevada Division of Forestry.
this sawmill, I believe, is retooling their operations right now. I don't know if they have the capacity to do that, but certainly if somebody wanted to talk to them, that's a business sponsor, so it would go through Society of American Foresters. Yeah.
Denise Baronio for the record. So I've done 3 public presentations about the Capital Christmas Tree Ornament Program. And so that outreach has really gained a lot of interest, and people are wanting to do it like with their family. I am a resource to pick ornaments up if you're within a 50-mile radius of Carson City. I'm happy to come pick ornaments up and bring them back to the ranger station, which is what I've been doing for the last few months. So I'm really excited. Gardnerville Elementary School here in Gardnerville and Scarcelli and the Grace Christian Academy here all did about, I want to say 500 ornaments total.
That's awesome. If you do host events, just a couple photos and video, we have an external collaboration box. They can be put in there. If there's children, if we could have we don't need a signed release, but what we do need is someone to have asked verbal permission or have a release on file, and then we need a name to share on the forester sites. We're sharing a lot through Society of American Foresters and really appreciate their extra capacity. So
Denise Baronio for the record. Will you find out if they're okay with the school release? Because
Yes.
the school
Yes.
releases, we took
absolutely.
pictures only of kids who were part of.
That's
school
the
release
school
program.
is easy, and with some of the programs where they've already signed a release, it's easy, so that does the trick. It's more like,
Perfect.
we had a little bit of a thing with the Stewart Indian powwow, where there were a lot of kids in the parade or the dance that was going on, the entry dance, and yeah, so that kind of stuff is difficult. Thank you
Great.
for everything you've done. We
Well, thanks
appreciate
for what
it,
you're
and we'll
doing.
do with the tree lighter.
Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments on that item?
Elizabeth Johnson for the record. Chad Taylor online posted a comment.
the count guest services in for material to get ornaments made should you need in Clark County. So
Thank you.
glad Taylor's willing to participate.
Thanks, Chad. All right, agenda item 9, presentation from Jordan Bader Ranch. Ranch.
So can you read the routes of that?
Just read it all, okay. Beta Ranch will share the plans for her up-and-coming trail riding business in Douglas County. This operation will be providing authentic horseback riding excursions in the Nevada backcountry, crossing into California areas of the USFS. She will share their vision for guest experiences, including their strategic plan to bring this unique venture to Northern Nevada. Beta Ranch.
Thank you.
Hi.
Peter, very grateful to be here presenting today. Thank you for the opportunity to meet. Before I lose this light bulb in my head, you should reach out to Nevada Panhellenic about making ornaments. They could turn it into a really fun competition, and they've got lots of crafty students involved. So I'll go ahead with my spiel. For those of you that I've met before at Rural Roundup in Laughlin, these slides will look familiar, but I'll be speaking a little more off the cuff today. So if you guys have any questions or comments as we go along, please let me know. But first things first, I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I'm a 5th generation native Nevadan. I grew up in Reno, and now my family has a ranch in Gardnerville that this program is based out of. And so I'm very proud of my Reno roots. We're located just off Foothills, so you guys will get the opportunity to see the property today and a little bit about what we're about. I grew up horseback riding and was part of the University of Nevada equestrian team. And then following college, I actually went to work at a premier guest ranch in Montana. And that's really where I fell in love with what I was doing. And was kind of a catalyst for me to realize that I wanted to make a career out of it and that there was a gap here in Nevada that I could address at home. So I hope you'll all take the chance to saddle up in the Sierra with me. And our mission basically is just to integrate people into the outdoors through, an authentic Nevada experience. Alrighty, so obviously there's no shortage of outdoor activity in the Reno Tahoe area. That's why we're all here. But you might ask yourself, why horseback riding? What's unique about horseback riding is when you have this experience, you'll walk away with a new skill set and something that you've learned and be able to hone in on and be able to advocate and have autonomy for your horse. We like it because it leaves a pretty nominal impact on the environment, and it gives you a different vantage point than you'd have on foot. Obviously, you can cover a lot more ground on horseback. So we're very proud to be in this industry. Alrighty, so a little Douglas County plug. We really believe that we're the gateway to the Sierras. Our location is just a few minutes away from the Kingsbury Grade Junction. So we're very close to Lake Tahoe. So we're really hoping to tap into that demographic and target that market of, outdoor enthusiasts and adventurous who'd like to come and see the other side of the Sierra that's a little less showcased. Go ahead, go to the next one. Keep it short for you guys.
You don't have to.
Well, careful, I'll keep yapping. So kind of same thing here. We're very grateful to be located so close to the lake. Our rides won't actually be at the lake themselves. We'd like to do some more alpine lake rides, but we're working currently on attaining our Forest Service and BLM permitting. So then hopefully that'll get us through. But currently we have an exclusive land agreement with Russell Scassa. His family has been in the valley for 140 years, so we're pretty fortunate to get to ride his property. Currently, we've got a low country option, so that caters towards our shorter rides. And then we've also got a high country option that will be our all day kind of picnic exploratory ride. So we've got options for multiple levels of experience and involvement. Jumps on the same bandwagon, but a little more about that. For now, our rides include a Sierra Sunset ride, which is just a 2-hour ride. We typically offer it at sunset, but if you'd like to do it at a different time, we can coordinate that. We've also got our Backcountry and Beyond ride, which is an all-day experience. And then we also offer rides and retreats. So those could be corporate retreats, leadership involvement. Those are a little more customizable. Go ahead. And right now, we've been at the property for 3 years, so we've made some big improvements that I'm excited to show you guys today. Kind of built from the ground up and really improving our facilities to make sure we can provide the best level of care to our horses and our team. Animal welfare is something that's very important to us, and we think it's shown on your rides that your horses are happy. So we hope you'll see that today. Our plan is to expand. At this very moment, we only offer rides up to 6 people. And I think that has an advantage because they're more intimate experiences. You get hands-on instruction and really feel like you can build some skill set with your horses versus being on a 20-person pack string and not knowing what's going on in the back. So we're excited about that. You can skip this slide. Boring. Yeah, so that's my spiel. Feel free to ask questions. I think you'll get to see a lot more hands-on today. But I'm really excited to be here and appreciative of the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
So you bought the ranch 3 years ago?
My family did, correct? Yep.
Family bought it,
So I grew up in Reno and then they bought the property in Partnerville 3 years ago.
and you bought it specifically to do this?
No, they kind of bought it just with an empty dream. And then I went to Montana and I was like, oh, I have a vision. So it worked out really well. Yeah. It's kind of funny because my heritage is all Basque ancestors who were shepherds and worked a working ranch in McDermott and then Lovelock. So then that generation kind of went and got educated, went to the city of Reno, and now we're all educated and we're going back. I'm leaving the city and getting back into ranching.
So it was just a regular ranch and then you purchased it? And then you decided to make it into a kind of a tourist destination for residents and.
Correct. So prior to that, it was
What
an
was-
equestrian facility. So it was like a hunter jumper barn with private boarding. And it hadn't been, it was owned by an older family, so they weren't super serious about marketing it. So it had great bones, but we've kind of restructured things a little bit. And just to clarify, I'm offering day rides, so I am trying to attract tourists to be able to showcase Nevada, but there's not an opportunity to stay at the ranch. So it's not a full guest ranch experience. People meet and have the opportunity to ride on horseback and see a little bit here. But hopefully we'll support other Nevada businesses so that they can come stay at CVI or Wally's and get food here.
So converting it into this operation, you must have had to deal with governmental entities, state of Nevada. Can you talk about that experience? Because that's what really, my job, Director Settlemyer, is to support
Mhm.
people like you to do this. So can you talk about your experience dealing with federal, state, county governments and setting this up?
Absolutely. So I'm still undergoing that. I'm working on achieving my special use and recreation permit through US Forest Service and then my special use permit through BLM. So that's been a process. For BLM, they have a really nice permitting application that you just fill out on Raptor. So it kind of streamlines things. Forest Service, I had some struggles identifying exactly what I needed. But I've had lots of resources in this room who have helped me get there and get through my checklist. So now I'm just on the pile and waiting for my review process. Something that I didn't know originally, was not made clear to me, was that when you're applying for different trailheads, you have to apply to each ranger responsible for that district. It's not like you can apply to one and then it'll get sent out across. So I'm sending out more applications than I realized. But yeah, I'm getting through it. I'll let you know after.
Okay. Well, I mean, once you're done with everything, maybe you can do some kind of an after action report on how you think we can improve the process going through governmental entities. So we don't want to be a roadblock for you. We want to
Right.
help you. So, but we can talk about that after. Okay. So you're up and running right now?
We're up and running,
You
yeah.
are?
Our
Okay.
land use is limited to the private agreement, so we don't have as many opportunities as when we hopefully get our permit.
What about insurance?
We do have insurance from the same provider, actually, from my previous ranch, so she does hospitality and recreation insurance.
Did you have a problem getting insurance?
No, because I was connected by my previous employer, but I think it would have been harder for me to find if it weren't for that.
Okay. Who else has questions or comments?
Denise Baronio for the record, and then I'll let Sheva go because I think we're probably going to talk about similar things. When I heard Jordan's presentation at Rural Roundup this year, I was super excited, not only because it's in my county, but because this horseback riding backcountry experience really does not exist in our state currently. There isn't any super cool day trips that you can go on. There's a few places that offer trail rides, but this backcountry adventure experience is going to be very unique to our state, and we're really excited to have it here in Douglas County. And so when I heard Jordan's presentation, from the Division of Outdoor Recreation, reached out to her to see how we could help streamline some of those processes for her. And so I reached out to Randy and Sheva with the US Forest Service to see where she was in the application realm. And there were some pieces that they still needed. So I'm trying to close that gap between what she thought she had and what she actually needed. So been working with Sheva and Randy at the U.S. Forest Service to make sure that her application was as complete as it possibly could be when it got to them. And then also just seeing where else we could help her, because the government process is not always easy, and especially when you're dealing with two federal entities, the county, and so many different other divisions and departments within the state and federal government. So hopefully we're helping to streamline that process a little bit. Obviously, I can't do the work for her, otherwise I would have loved to help, but just really excited about this program. She also teaches writing lessons. So at her facility, because it was an equestrian facility before, so she teaches writing lessons. So somebody could actually learn how to ride and then go on a like day trip and feel experienced. But I know that Sheva wanted to probably.
I just have a question, Sheva ABOR for the record, U.S. Forest Service. What Forest Service units are you working with besides Carson?
Well, there's a long
It's
list.
8.
Yeah. I honestly can't remember right now, but I can pull it up.
The rides going, I guess, is the simpler question.
I have asked for quite a few, basically off of 88 and off the 4. So Ebbets Pass area and then right off the lake, but I'm also asking if they were there. They said cast a wide net and I am. See what I've improved on.
For clarity there, that's like dealing with different states.
Right,
I
so that's
know
complicated.
It's actually different national forests, so
Mhm.
that's part of the complication. Each national forest has their own management plan. They have areas that they're familiar with where they'll be looking for impacts. This is not a huge impact kind of activity, but we have a due diligence process that we have to do to protect the resources of the state of Nevada, realizing that horseback riding is probably fairly low on our impact list, but still needing to look at it and comply with our obligations under federal law. Jordan's application, I think, was in a pile of 11 or 12 that the ranger district in Carson needed to work for through. Now she's next in line, and I think they're just asking for some information to help coordinate to make sure they can streamline it as much as possible. I know it's frustrating for applicants. It can be frustrating for Forest Service staff too, when they have a long list of applications to work through and they know that folks are anxious to get a business started. So our staff work hard, and just wanted to compare that for you all, that it is the equivalent of somebody going to California versus somebody going to Nevada.
Well, and for example, the Fay Luther Trailhead, I learned through going all of this, it's partially BLM, partially US Forest Service, partially Nevada, and partially California. So I really picked the most complicated options.
So, James Sotomayor, for the record, curious if you could do the Tahoe Rim Trail, because they already have equestrian accessible areas, if that would speed up the process for Johnson at the Tahoe district.
For the record, US Forest Service. Tahoe's an interesting animal. I do not believe they are currently reviewing outfitter guide permits, so that would be maybe more difficult because it's more stringently looked at, and I don't believe they are open to outfitter guide right now. So there are some trail ride programs up there, I don't think on the Rim Trail. I'm not sure if there's any specific restrictions regarding the Rim Trail, but I know who you can contact.
Take my trailer up there anyway. So there you go. Like a lot of work. Go ahead.
I'm Mauricia Baca for the record, and thanks so much for taking the time to make this presentation to us. I have a couple of questions. They're two very different themes. One is, I think it's just so wonderful that you took that experience in Montana and were inspired and came back and started a business. And I'm so wondering if you might be interested in engaging in outreach to high school students, for instance, and helping them see a career path in the outdoor recreation industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you would be a great messenger to students, because they could actually see themselves in you. So as they're looking at their career paths, they may not always have this thought. It took you going to Montana to get the idea. So that I think you would just be a wonderful ambassador to kids on this.
Thank you. I would love that.
Yeah.
I was really fortunate that I found that path, and I don't really know how it found me, honestly. I was sitting in a journalism class and I was like, what could I do instead of this? I really
if you don't know the places to look, it's really hard to find ranches and places to get involved. And the awesome thing is if you want to spend your time outside, you don't have to be involved in riding to work in the guest ranch industry. There's lots of resources like Cool Works and Ranch World Ads where you can go become an all-around and you can lead fly fishing and hikes and all sorts of things. And when I started doing this, I had a multitude of people just asking, how did you find this? How do I get involved? So I would love to be on that end.
Yeah, I think you'd be wonderful in that role. And
Thank you.
my other question is very different from the Nature Conservancy. I think it's great when you can highlight outdoor recreation, how outdoor recreation and responsible environmental management go hand in hand. I noticed that as a line in your slide. I just wondered if you could share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, I grew up hiking and hunting and camping and doing all the things. So I kind of had that instilled in me. And then when I worked in Montana, the leave no trace ethics were really enhanced. And so I learned a lot more about that. And so it's something I'm passionate about because I love to explore the outdoors and I want to maintain it. So hopefully I can encourage that amongst my rides. I try to really enforce those policies and keep things as clean as I can. Most of the time in Nevada, I'm very pleasantly surprised, but I guess this is actually California. I went to Levitt Lake hiking a couple of weeks ago, and I was so disappointed to see the amount of trash that people left around the lake. And I think I was one of the first people really to be up there because there's still a lot of snowpack and the road's closed, so I hiked where you drive. So I'd love to be a catalyst to kind of change that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Amy Berry for the record. This is so neat. Thanks for coming. I have more of a business side of the house question. So
Absolutely.
can you talk a little bit about what your price point looks like, what your annual budget looks like, what your projected revenue looks like?
Yeah. So right now, my Sierra Sunset rides are $200 a person. My backcountry and beyond is $475, and then the retreats start at $500, and those are customizable, so it just depends. You probably did notice just have a seasonal revenue with this. My operating months right now are May through October, and that could be adjusted depending on snowpack. Because I have my separate entity of the lesson program, I'm able to work year round and offer riding experiences, but I just don't want to overcommit to the other side, not knowing what the weather will be like.
Great, please.
Denise Baronio, for the record, are you offering like 1 to 2 hour, the shorter rides? What's the price point for those? Because
Those are 2-hour rides, the smallest ones, and then the backcountry and beyond is an all-day ride.
Okay.
And then a retreat is however long you want it to be.
And just for the record, that is well within the price range of what you pay for a horseback ride in any other state when you go in the backcountry. So it sounds expensive, but it's not. That is pretty much you're right in line with other price points. So that's great. And then also working with the U.S. Forest Service and with Randy Kais and with Sheba, I think it's 8 ranger districts that she will be going through.
Yeah.
Go for the record.
Any other questions? Well, thanks for being here. It looks like this advisory board is very supportive. So is there anything that we can help you with today? If not today, then reach out to any of us as a support mechanism we want you to succeed.
Thank you.
We want you I would love for that to be a place where you go for a week and stay there. You have a chef, That would be awesome, but we're here to support you. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know.
Okay.
And we're taking a trip there
That's our
after
field trip,
this.
yeah.
So anybody that wants to go out there and actually see it, Denise is organizing that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Great,
George.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's great. Let's see.
Number 10.
Number 10, presentation from Brooke Addy, Community Service Director for Douglas County. Brooke will discuss pending plans for renovation and updating outdoor recreation infrastructure, trail connectivity, staging areas, upgrades to the fairgrounds through the county fairgrounds strategic plan efforts, including coordinating uses on public land access.
Thank you. I'm Brooke Addy. I'm the Community Services Director here in Douglas County. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of background about what we do. So we're a county entity, and Community Services Department includes Parks and Recreation, animal services, social services, dark transportation, senior services, our health clinic, the public administrator's office, the public guardian's office. So we do a lot in our umbrella, under our umbrella to help serve the community. When you look at what our outdoor recreation activities look like, so we have two disc golf courses, we have a model airplane complex, we have a shooting range, we have a campground, the Topaz Lake Campground. We have Dangberg, the historic ranch house. We have Lampy Park, Sodic Park, Aspen Park, Johnson Lane Park, Zephyr Park, Zephyr Cove Park, Hale Park, Brodovich Park. We have several trailheads that we oversee. We have the North Kingsbury Trailhead, Brave Meadow Trailhead, Genoa Vista Trail, which we recently secured an easement from Wally's to extend that trail all the way through Wally's. We have an Eagle Ridge Trail, and then we have 3 riverbend parks. So we do quite a bit within our community, and we oversee a lot of different parks and public spaces. So during the last year's budget setting cycle, and in 2023, I believe it was, Douglas County underwent a strategic plan update. And through that process, we had multiple open meeting with the community to talk about what are some things that we would like to see within our community and what are some things that we can enhance outdoor recreation. We got a lot of positive feedback, a lot of discussion about the Douglas County Fairgrounds. And it really came from people who had visited the Fallon Fairgrounds, the Raptor 3C Arena. And our community members and our commissioners were saying, Fallon has this really great facility. Why don't we have a facility like that? Our population is bigger. We have some really great events out there. How do we get to a place where we could have something like that? So in our strategic plan, one of the goals was added to, you can go back, yeah. One of the goals was added to talk about doing a feasibility study to see how we can enhance our Douglas County Fairgrounds. So during our budget cycle, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee allocated $50,000 in room tax to towards a feasibility study. And then we wrote a grant through the Nevada Division of Outdoor Recreation, and we were Conserve Nevada, and we were awarded $50,000 for the second piece of that. So there's 2 pieces to the study. So one is looking at the fairgrounds, doing a feasibility study to say, what is it that we need at the fairgrounds? What does the community want? What do we already have? The second piece of it is doing a land use site study of 660 acres of BLM land that is adjacent to the fairgrounds. So the BLM land that I'm talking about is part of the lands bill. And I'm not really involved in all the lands bill stuff, but I hear it's, been ongoing for multiple years. So what we have talked about doing is looking at doing an RP&P lease with BLM. And so part of this whole process is for us to develop a plan that we can submit when we go through the permitting. So we did a competitive RFP. We reached out to architects and we said, here's what we're looking at doing. We want to develop a land use site plan for the fairgrounds and do a feasibility study for an indoor event center. What kind of indoor event center do we want? How many people is it going to serve? What kind of events do we want to do? Do we just want to do equestrian events, or do we want to do so much more? In Douglas County, we have the Tahoe Blue Event Center that has the capacity to do a lot of events, but it can't do any dirt events. And they get a lot of requests to do events up there, and they have no space for it. So we would like them to be able to send them to Douglas County. So what we've done so far is part of this process is to assess the needs of the community and look at different sites that are already in existence and learn from what they do well, what they wish they would have done, and really collaborate with our stakeholders and the users of the facility to say, what would enhance the events that you have? And the end result is going to be to have a high-level concept design, site plans, and some operational recommendations. So how we get there is we do a lot of community engagement. We have stakeholder and public workshops to gather feedback. We analyze the site to say, what are some things that would work well with the site? How much space do we have? Looking at the flow of the site, really engaging with the neighbors. We want to make sure that We have buy-in with our neighboring communities on anything that we're gonna do, because if they're not on board, then nothing moves forward. So we really took an approach of, we have no real ideas. We are here on our very first meeting to say, what is it that you want to see and what is it that you do not want to see? And we just gathered information. And then in the end, probably about February of 2026 is when we'll have a final plan we'll take before our Board of County Commissioners for an approval. So part of what we have done in this process is we looked at all of the parks that we have around in the area to present to our stakeholders and our community members to say, here are the things that we already have in our community. Do we really need more ballparks? Do we really need more soccer fields? Do we need more playgrounds? Looking at close to the site, all of the other amenities around that, it really provided a clear picture to the community to say, hey, wait a minute, we have a lot of these things. What are things that we're missing? And so this was really effective when we were talking with the community who, you know, I have a child that plays football and we think, well, there's not enough turf fields. And it's like, well, actually, let's see how many parks we have to be able to do that. Maybe that really isn't where the biggest need is. So it was really important for us to look at what we already have available to kind of help fill in those gaps. So this map is a little bit hard to read because it has all of the different floodplains, but it's really looking at the current fairgrounds site, which is the fairgrounds itself is about 35 acres. The total park is about 85, but that includes a disc golf course that's there. And then it looks at the land next to it, which is the BLM land, to say, hey, here is all of the space that we have to work with. And we ask the community to go big, like tell us what you want, because if you go big, typically through the process, it gets scaled down a little bit, but we also want to look to the future for forward growth. We don't want to say, this is what our community needs now. Our community is growing quite a bit. And so we want to be able to look to the future to say, how do we support future activities and future growth? So this is what our current fairgrounds looks like right now, with some of the bubbles to say, here are some possibilities of things that we could add to the space. And really talking about flow. Some of the biggest things that come up is parking. You know, we have a need for parking if we're going to have these large events. We want to make sure we have enough parking. We need to have enough ADA parking, and we want to have grandstands that fit the activities that we want to do. So right now, you see our current fairgrounds has about a 1,500 seat grandstand. There's a pavilion, there's a practice arena, there's a staging area, there's a concession stand, and there's a horse barn. So what we did is we went and toured Winnemucca and Fallon and really looked at their sites to say, what is it that we can add to this to really enhance our activities? And one of the things that has come up over and over again is camping amenities. The fairground site is also a site that's used heavily in emergency evacuation. So, and a staging site for firefighters. So the Connor fire that just happened, we canceled an event that we had there because we had the firefighters there and they were staging it. It was our emergency operations center. So how do we enhance the facility, not only for users of recreational activities and outdoor activities, but how do we better support our community through emergency events? So we did, on May 8th, we had 2 stakeholder meetings. We had, two public visioning workshops. One was with our stakeholders. So we invited all of the users of the facilities to come in. We had tables set up all around the room. We had it at the fairgrounds in the pavilion, and we laid out the maps and we said, here, what are some things that you guys would like to see here? And then we did the same with the public. We noticed the neighbors within, I think, a mile radius, and put it all over social media. And we had fairly good attendance. We probably had about 50 there for the public meeting and about 20 of the stakeholders as our first step. Now what we'll do is we'll gather all of the data from our site visits and from what we received from the community. And we're going to have another public visioning workshop on July 24th. And we'll say, hey, here's what we found. Here's what we heard. Does this align with what you guys would like to see, and get additional information? Then we go before our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and then we go before the Board of County Commissioners as the the final approval. Some of the other things that we're talking about outside of the fairgrounds, when we tour the other facilities, we recognize that if you're gonna have a fairgrounds that is big enough to support the community, you really need at least 100 acres. So what we talked about is really carving out, how do we carve out 100 acres to make sure that we have all of the amenities that we would like there. But 660 acres is a lot of property. So what are the other things that we can do there? And so some of the things that we've talked with Denise and her office is having like a cultural and outdoor cultural and community center that would probably be on county land, but you know, could expand into the BLM land with ropes courses or pump tracks or whatever it is that people would like to see walking past. So great opportunity for us to utilize this space, keep some open space, and really work with the neighbor in the community to give them something that we want. I do want to have the caveat, there is no funding for any of these projects right now. But this is a place for us to start where we have planning documents that will better align us and position us to apply for grant funds. So I think that's it. Do you have any questions? That's the current fairgrounds right now. That was during our Douglas County Rodeo.
Oh, it's Reagan.
It's Reagan.
Hey, by the way, this is Reagan right here. Reagan, for the record. Reagan is being fostered by Mike Dayton. He's in my office and, he's a Liberty dog. So eventually he will be, she will be, given to a veteran that needs a service dog. So, and she's great and, she loves Doritos. Anyway, so, sorry to interrupt you there.
Denise Bronio for the record. Oh, is there a question online?
Yeah.
Deborah, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. Deborah Strickland, Nye County. We have a fairgrounds project that we've been working on that we acquired the land from BLM under patent. It's 472 acres, but because it's under patent, there's certain things we can't do. And so right now we're out to bid on our civic center. We got some earmarked money from Hortsford, $1 million. Real exciting stuff happening. We've got the OHV park out there that this board through grants has helped us acquire through OHV commission. And the biggest problem that we're running into is the same thing you're going to run into in Douglas County is funding. But we do have a land spill that we're really close to introducing that we've had since 2007. And so if we can get our land spill introduced here in the very near future, that'll release us from the reversionary interest that we have with BLM. And we've put in for SNPLMA money. And I don't know, Douglas County, if you're a member of SNPLMA.
No, Brooke 80, Community Services Director, we're not eligible. So I go around to all the counties and they all talk about their money that they're getting and we're not one of them, so.
Us either. And so we're adding that to our land spill in hopes of being able to become a part of that because it is unreal what these counties are being able to do with these monies, 13 million for swimming pool, 35 million for the equestrian centers, and it's amazing. And so our public lands are, as you know, are being sold. And when they're being sold, that's the pot of money, and it should be for recreational purposes so we can better for our community. So I don't know. I'm shooting for trying to get SNPLMA. Maybe you can. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Denise Bronio for the record. I'm just really proud of all the work that you guys have done to push this forward in Douglas County. And it's been really exciting to help with this process. And, I have this big equestrian vision. She's probably tired of hearing about how many arenas we need. But they did go down to Rancho Marietta. I would love for you to share that experience because Rancho Marietta, that equestrian complex in California, has been 40 plus years in the making of ripping arenas down, moving them, really trying to make the best use of space. They don't have, I think they're less than 100 acres as far as where their barns and stuff are. But also, if you have facility like Winnemucca, I think Winnemucca has 1,000 stalls or close to 1,000 stalls. So if you're going to accommodate big events, you need to have a lot of barns, a lot of arenas, covered arenas because of where we live. So the investment's going to be really big, but if you do it right, you can have multiple events. I think it's going to be such a economic driver for the county to have something that big and that special, and so close to the Bay Area and to one of the biggest horse communities in the country in California. So doing it right and really making the investment, I think, is going to pay off huge for outdoor recreation, but not just the equestrian piece of it. We're also talking about staging areas for, separating OHV from equestrian use and single track, and really trying to make the best use. And that 601 acres, it's or 500 acres that's on the front side, actually next to Settlemire Ranch, is opportunity to do not only pump track, but you could do mountain bike courses out there. You could do equestrian cross-country courses, maybe a walking track that ends up being like 3 miles by the time you go all the way around the outside. So much opportunity to really expand on outdoor recreation for the community. So if you could just kind of share your experience of what you like when you guys first drove into Rancho Marietta, because it's such a different kind of facility.
It is Brooke 80 Community Services Director. So Rancho Marietta was very impressive. So we went to 2 public county run facilities, and Rancho Marietta is a private facility, and they have been around for a very long time. It was very impressive to see the arenas that they have, the amenities where people can stay. They did not have an indoor climate control facility, which is what we are really looking for. But they had a lot of really great arena space that they could do a lot with. The day that we were there, they were preparing for 400 horses to come in for what the event that they were having there. When we went to Winnemucca, they have like 350 camp spaces. And so, when people are coming to do these rodeo events, they want to stay where they're going to rodeo, and they want their animals close by. And so we realized how important that was we were thinking, oh, maybe 20 camping spots. And then we went there and we said, okay, wait a minute. That's not going to work. That's not going to meet the needs of the facility. We really need to have more. And just very simple water and power, and that's it. They have a dump station. We have a ranger that's already out at our park every day. And so, just a lot of opportunities to increase use and use year round.
Denise Bronio, for the record, really quick, and then I'll let Janice go. They also did just replace their lighting to retrofitted or dark sky friendly.
Yeah, so if you go to the last slide on the presentation, that's something that I did want to talk about. So we worked with Musco Lighting, and they redid all of our arena lights. So you can see, this is where the Douglas County Rodeo from last year. When it's dark out, all of the light is very focused on the arena, and there's very little light pollution into the neighborhood. Prior to the lights, we would get complaints quite a bit from the neighbors, especially if users of the facility left the lights on. And so they're like, it's midnight, the lights are on. The way that these lights work right now is my park superintendent and supervisor, they have it all on their phone. Actually, during the rodeo, they said, okay, we want to do fireworks. And so they went on their phone, turned the lights off, fireworks on their phone, lights went back on very quickly. Everybody was able to exit safely, and very little disturbance to the neighbors.
Yes, so Chelsea.
Yeah.
You should be excited about this.
I am excited.
Well, thank you for the presentation. Any
Oh,
questions?
yeah, Janice had.
I just had one, Janice Keeler for the record. Thanks for the presentation. It sounds like a really exciting project. I just want to let you know, once you're done planning, it sounds like there's a lot of elements that would be eligible for the Land and Water Conservation Fund. So please contact State Parks and let us know what you are thinking, and then we'll see what we can do to work with you on a grant.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Amy Berry, for the record, it's really exciting. Curious, do you have any economic development figures, like what economic development numbers look like or impact numbers from similar facilities in other places?
Yeah, so Fallon has quite a bit of information that they've been able to gather over the last 3 years since their facilities have opened. Some of the struggles that I've heard them say from Fallon is not a lot of rooms, and they don't have a lot of high quality restaurants. Like they don't have a steakhouse. So that can really impact, people coming in. Although the facility itself doesn't make money because it's a county run facility, and the fees are relatively low for the events because they don't just do rodeo events, but they'll do like the Cattlewoman's Dinner or like a craft fair or whatever. Because in their facility, they're able to compact the dirt to where it's like concrete. And so you can set up tables out there and you wouldn't even know that you're walking on a dirt floor, or, they can have different rodeo events. So the biggest economic impact has been with the local businesses, restaurants, hotels. And so what Jorge, so he's my equivalent in Fallon, he has said that, people will say, I always know when you guys are having an event because the increase in business is pretty significant. So he has a lot of data on that, which is really interesting to see.
Yeah, that might be interesting to capture, because then you can start to make the case for, if you invest this to help us build that, it's going to result in X economic development for the county.
Work 80 Community Services Director. I also sit on the Visit Carson Valley Board. And so we work really closely with them at the different events that we have that are going on. And they provide a lot of great data. So we already are able to look at the Douglas County Rodeo that happens now. How many people are attending? Where are they coming from? Where are they staying? Where are they spending money? To look at what the impact that event alone has had on our community. And so he can do that with multiple others.
Great.
Denise Baronio, for the record, I'll give you an example for a Reno event that uses the Reno Livestock Event Center. So the Snaffle Bay Futurity, which is a reining cow horse event, isn't just an annual event. It had been here for years, went to Oklahoma, came back. That event is a 10-day event. That is about a $26 million economic impact for that 10 days when it comes every year. So that's just one event.
That's great.
Mauricia Baca, for the record, you mentioned Marietta being a private facility, and I was just curious if you're exploring kind of public-private partnership opportunities with private entities coming in to pay for at least some components.
I think that is definitely part of our planning process. Having private-public partnerships is not something that is familiar to us as an organization. The Dangberg Home Ranch is a prime example of it's a county-owned asset and it's operated by a nonprofit organization. So they do all of the programming, they collect all of the money and they put it right back into the park. And then us as a county is responsible for like capital planning and maintenance and things like that. So that's definitely something that we could potentially explore as the fairgrounds are looked at. We have talked about private-public partnerships for like a cultural and community outdoor community center on that site, and have some people who would be probably interested in partnering with us to operate those kinds of things. So yeah, it doesn't all have to be county staff, and we're doing something similar. We purchased the movie theater here. We're going to make a cultural and performing arts community center. We have an art organization that we'll partner with for the operations. So definitely lots of opportunities for that.
Denise Baronio, for the record, I'll give you another example. So Rancho Marietta has, I think they have 12 different arenas. And so they're covered in indoor arenas are sponsored by private entities. So like a family or whatever displays their name on that arena in perpetuity, and they pay for the construction and footing in that arena, which is about $500,000 per arena. So that's one way to develop partnerships, is to have somebody, sponsor like an arena. If you have like 10 arenas, I'm just saying, you could have 10 arenas.
If we do.
And then that way, those are being paid for. Then you do have that public-private sponsorship where you aren't investing all of the county's money. You're spending all the grant money that you get like from Land and Water Conservation Fund. You can spend that money for other outdoor rec activities.
Brook 80 Community Services Director. Also, this project is being funded and is within our Parks and Rec department, which is funded with room tax. And so these projects get funded through the visitors that come. So we collect 14 cents up at the lake and 13 cents down in the valley. And, portions of that go to Parks and Recreation. So nothing from the general fund, it's all from, tourist driven activities. This building right here, my office is right across the hall. I'm really grateful that you guys are here. I'm sorry that the space is a little bit awkward, but this place is so busy. I don't know if you guys heard the music happening. There's lots of exercise classes. But if you'll walk around here, you'll see where the bathroom has a name on it. We sold the bathroom, and so it's something that we typically do anyway for a sponsorship. So yeah. Anything else?
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank
Appreciate
you.
that information. Yeah. Very good. All right, we're on agenda item 11, call for agenda items and date for the next meeting. So as always, if any of our advisory board members have an agenda item that they would like added to a future meeting, you can do that now. Or you can contact myself or Denise, and we'd be happy to put your agenda item on a future board meeting. And then dates for the next meeting. Denise?
Denise Baronio, for the record, October 9th and 10th are the next meeting dates, I'm pretty sure. I did already send out an invite.
It's on the agenda.
Thanks. Yeah, oh yeah, October 9th, Paulton, Virginia, or excuse me, Boulder City. And then on the 10th, we will be visiting the new Valley of Fire Visitor Center. So that's an optional field trip the next day. We're going to host the Boulder City meeting a little bit later in the day so that people can fly down in the morning. And if they just want to attend for the day in person, they can. Hopefully Chad Taylor is going to arrange some cool little excursion out on Lake Mead for us, so that we can maybe go out on a houseboat or two and have a little fun on a field trip there and see kind of some of the outdoor recreation opportunities on Lake Mead. We may be having the meeting at the dam. So not sure yet. We haven't confirmed. It was a pretty pricey cost for that. So I reminded them that we are a state entity and we would love to have that for a cheaper zero price. And so that is still on the works. So I'll let you know hopefully soon if that's going to be the location at the Hoover Dam. But if not, we will probably have it at like the golf course or something like that. Jill Lagan is one of our speakers from the Boulder City. What's her title? Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. Chamber of Commerce. And then we will also have Seth Floyd with Las Vegas at the recreation, and he's going to talk about a lot of the trails and connectivity that they have with the Vegas Rim Trail, and then also what they're doing in North Las Vegas and other outdoor recreation opportunities. We would welcome a third speaker if anybody has any ideas of what they'd like to see on the agenda. We've talked previously about Chelsea Kinchlow, who's our dark sky program officer. If you would like to hear from her about dark skies, because Boulder City has a huge project, $2 million project for retrofitted lighting that Chelsea and Elizabeth have been working on for a couple of years. Happy to talk about that, or if anybody has any other agenda items for that one or the spring, we're happy to listen to your ideas.
Any other questions or comments on that? Very good. Then we will go to agenda item 12, public comment. This is a second time for public comment. Anyone in this room have any public comment? Right, I don't see anything. Anybody online? Nope. Okay, I will close public comment and
Really quick.
yes, anything else anybody wants to bring up before we adjourn?
Denise Baronio, for the record, since we are running ahead of schedule, really fast ahead of schedule, is there anything from the team that they would like to update about any of the projects they have going? I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about dark sky stuff or like the Cosmos in the desert, elaborate on that a little bit.
Chelsea Kinchlow for the record. So yeah, I woke up in April with snow, so we ended up canceling or postponing Cosmos in the Desert. So August 16th out at Lahontan State Recreation Area is the new date. So we did not change the venue, so we're still keeping it there. And it's during the Perseids meteor shower, and we were just very excited to offer this again because state parks got a lot of reservations. They got a lot of interest. And so we think it's something that we'll see repeatedly going forward for the years to come. And
Events are happening at Cosmos Desert.
oh, that's such a great question, Elizabeth. Thank you. So we will be re-inviting the Nevada Department of Wildlife to come out and do a nighttime wildlife walk. And we also will have potentially this year for the first time a cornhole competition. Kind of like figuring out the logistics. We're also looking at having like a guided bike ride tour around Lahontan too, just kind of really showcase the amazing recreation opportunities out there. We're a little concerned about the harmful algae blooms out at Lahontan, so we will not be encouraging water sports for this one. And we will also have just our astronomy groups out with the telescopes again as well, doing some star tours. And we'll see if we can get the constellation talks back again, as well as the astrophotography and the art in the dark as well. Thank you, Denise, for that reminder. Which is just we set up red lights and people would come up and you can paint. And so if you guys are unfamiliar, under red light, you can't tell what colors you're using. So it's kind of a surprise as to what you're actually painting. Yeah.
Christmas ornaments.
Just saying. Are we doing art in the dark Christmas ornaments? Yeah, no, we can do that. And then for the certification process as well, it's a learning curve for me, just because I have 3 kind of like separate certification processes lined up right now. So I am trying to work with Washoe County to get Gerlach a dark sky ordinance. So I've never gone through this process. So this is a very amazing and exciting learning process for myself, as well as developing like internal lighting policies. So I was fortunate to go out to Wild Horse Recreation Area, who is one of the state parks we're working with, and do a lighting inventory with them. So I am working the process in which the program states. So that's very exciting. And I think that's kind of all I have on the dark skies front right now.
And maybe trails with Truckee Meadows.
And Truckee Meadows, yes. So we got all of our trail enthusiasts together back in April, March. I honestly forget at this point. And we kind of a couple of months ago, and we talked about like what would a certification process look like for the state of Nevada to get more workforce trail builders within the state of Nevada, because right now it's very, very sparse in terms of who can help come out and build trail. And a big part of that is because you do need a full contractor's license in the state of Nevada to build. And so it's very difficult to achieve that. And we're just hoping that this certification process kind of gets people thinking more about the trail building avenue, as well as helping the nonprofits here in the state of Nevada.
Yeah. Anyone?
James.
James Silvermore, Director of Farm Conservation Natural Resources. So I was gonna actually throw state parks under the bus to talk about the other things coming up, such as the Valley Fire new building.
Yes, I can talk about that. So Valley Fire Visitor Center project is, Janice Keeler for the record. We have been fast tracking this project due to the funding expirations.
We didn't do the groundbreaking that long ago.
It is.
I can't believe it's.
Believe it or not, the building is ahead of schedule, which never happens. The building. So probably around August, that should be done. The delay is not really a delay that would affect the opening, but the exhibits inside the building. So those take more time. They have to, they've been designed, they have to construct, they have to install. The building space has to be ready for them. So they left them in mid-June. So this is a very exciting project for us. We're using Many pots of funding. We've got Conservative Nevada, we've got a $7 million Helmsley Foundation donation, and we've got $14 million of general fund that was allocated for this project. So it's been pretty high profile, and everything is going really well. And we are just excited. It's gonna be energy efficient. We're gonna have displays that represent, the tribes and also the animals there, and a lot of different interpretations inside the exhibit. Another piece are trails outside of the visitor center. So there's gonna be the petrified log trail. Then there's gonna be a beehive trail for beehives to the visitor center through the Red Rocks, which is gonna be great. And then one from the visitor center to the campground. But these are all just elements of the project. It's just moving super fast and everything's really good. Oh, just gave me a little note, so I'll mention that, we are partnering with Las Vegas Brewing on a beer for the grand opening, and I don't know what kind it's gonna be. I was hoping for like a porter or something like that, but I doubt that they're gonna accommodate me. So, we've got one already for Ice Age Fossil State Park, which is a Kolsch, and then one that we brought out for the Cave Lake grand reopening, which was an amber beer. So anyway, so this is exciting. 5% of the proceeds go to the Nevada State Parks Foundation.
So do you have an grand opening day yet?
Not yet. I think that's gonna be dependent on the exhibits. So we were shooting for October, so sometime in October, but with Nevada Day at the end, it might be early November. So we'll just see how the logistics work with that.
So what happens to the current visitor center, that building?
We are thinking of ideas for that. I think the most popular one right now is to concession it out as a restaurant. Because due to, how popular the park is, we get over 1 million visitors a year. That could be something that would work well for that park. We, State Parks, couldn't run it, so it would require a concessionaire, which we'd have to work out all the details and how that's gonna look. So it's probably gonna be a whole separate planning process of how that would look for us. What kind of improvements would need to happen to that building, because it's pretty old. And so, but we're excited to be able to repurpose that building into something else
Right.
for the visitors.
James Settlemeyer, for the record, Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, also be a great opportunity for Southern Nevada because Moapa, Logandale area doesn't exactly have a gigantic number of restaurants
Yeah.
in said community. Some people that said, that'd be great.
Oh,
There's more people that go out to eat at the park.
Yeah. Thank you.
anybody else want to give an update? Oh,
While I'm talking, just real quick on the recreational trails program, we are looking at opening the pre-application round next month. So that is coming. We're just discussing the timing on that because we weren't quite sure with the federal funding situation, how that's gonna look, but it looks pretty solid that we're still gonna get our apportionment. It's not gonna be any different, unfortunately. Probably about 1.2 million for projects. And then there's a little bit of that is, not of that, but a little bit of what we get is for administration of the program. And then another project we're working on this, in addition to the statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, is a statewide trails plan. So this is a new thing we're doing. We're going to be starting to develop the survey questions for that plan after we get the SWORP question and surveys out. So that'll also be coming. So I'm excited about that. All we got.
Denise Bernier, for the record, why don't each of you just give a quick update on your projects, since I just gave a high level overview, so kind of wanting to.
Sure. Yeah, I did want to mention, we're getting Kendall Scott for the record. We're getting, the NOAA grant materials all ready, and I'll have flyers and things are available next week. So I'd love to send that out to all of you and ask you to share those around so we can let everybody know, because I've had a lot of people reaching out in the months during legislative session asking when is the next grant round, and I'm telling them I don't know. So we have a contact list and notify all those people that there's funding and that will go live August 1st again. But we'll love help spreading the word on that. I think there's not too many changes happening with the grant process this year. I heard you all last meetings discuss that you would like to move the audience questions back to being a score that I do, so we're gonna do that this year. Same way we did the first year. And then, I mean, we could look at a November date if we want to. For the TAC meeting. Typically we do it around like November 11th, 12th. Those are 11th is Veterans Day, so I guess we don't do it that day. So I would say probably November 12th or 13th, if anybody would like to look at their calendar now and see which day would be available. For anyone who doesn't know, TAC presentations, the ABOR also serves as the technical advisory committee for the NOAA grant. So you review all of the tier 2 applications. So that's anything over $7,500, up to $50,000 requests. And then we take the top 15 written scores and see presentations in November for those. So you can submit your recommendations to Denise, who gets to decide finally where those awards go. So I would propose November 12th or 13th. If there's any preference between those two dates, I'd love to hear about that.
Thank you. Yasmin.
Yasmin Eskanovic, for the record. I think Denise kind of, put it in a good highlight of the things I've been working on. I would say for the most part, I've really been working with state parks and their GIS analysts to collect and clean up the Scarp Recreation data assets. So as a reminder, that information can be sent up to, all of our land managers and stakeholders to review. So again, we went down to like the county, city, town level, like all the way down to like Fish Valley for their fairgrounds. And we've got a couple reviews back so far from BLM for high level overviews, as well as Fish and Wildlife for certain areas. So we'd really like to have county and city involvement to make sure that we have their recreation assets as accurate as possible. Other updates are trailside services. We were hoping to have that launched by the beginning of summer, but I think at this point we're looking at the end of summer. The pages haven't really been developed yet, but we have been putting all that information on the back end. So right now we have probably about 50 loaded and ready to go, and it's mostly our OHV assets. So if you're out on a side-by-side and you find that, oh, maybe you broke an axle, you popped a wheel, or you need a tow, then we can have those trailside services available for you to see where you might need to, get some services so you're not really stranded. But we're gonna have all that down for, visitor services, Chamber of Commerce. Oh, we're looking at a guides and outfitters page as well, so that people can look at where to, if they want to plan a hunting or fishing guiding trip in the state, how can they do that, successfully and find the right resources? So we're gonna build out a page for that. I think that's kind of really the major things I've been working on. Those are some big projects, so thank you.
Kate Barmore for the record. The OHV world is as busy as ever. Kind of the big things we're focusing on right now. Our next commission meeting is August 12th, and that'll be in Carson City. Our next grant round, we don't have a launch date yet, but it's going to be going out sooner than later. I'm trying to launch it a little earlier so that all of our grant rounds don't happen at the same time for our tax, which I think everybody would appreciate, myself included. We're working with DMV closely to really differentiate what DMV does versus what the OHV program does. And that's kind of leading into this huge rebranding of the program where we're redoing our website, redoing our literature, everything to really be like, we are grants, they are registration and titling, because it's been very confusing for the public. And a lot of that has to do with the verbiage and messaging of our resources. We are hiring for our MA1 position, and hopefully that gets filled soon. And yeah, I think that's kind of it.
Thank you. Denise Baronio for the record. Brandon Bishop from Conserve Nevada is also here. So if you wouldn't mind to update us on the grant program opportunities and anything that's going on in Conserve Nevada.
Absolutely. Brandon Bishop for the record. This last legislative session was pretty historic with the governor's recommended budget. putting forward around $64 million for outdoor recreation and conservation within the state. Part of that is a $20 million open grant for recreation and conservation. And we'll be announcing that grant round here in August. And we'll have that open for several months for grantees to apply. State, local governments, nonprofits can all apply for that funding. And we're hoping that we can get some really great projects done through that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Amy Berry for the record, just want to let everybody know the Tahoe Summit is back. I think it's 28 or 29 years. It'll be August 6th at Valhalla. Senator Schiff is hosting. It's his first ever, which is pretty exciting. So invites will go out for registration on July 8th. And there's no parking on site, so Tahoe Transportation District will be providing shuttles and there'll be a bike valet.
James Sotomayor, is there boat access?
There might be parking on site for you, Director.
Anybody online have any updates? Anything you want to bring up? All right, then, we're on agenda item 13, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's Amy Berry. Do I have a second?
Mauricio Baca, seconding.
All right, any questions or comments on that? All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you. Great job, everyone. Appreciate it.
Anybody that's going to the JT restaurant for lunch